Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Premium Aquatics. I'm Luke with the tank, and today we're going to be upgrading my RODI system. But before we do that, I hope you guys had a great Christmas. Hopefully you had time to spend with friends and family and loved ones, and hopefully you have a great New Year's this weekend. Make sure to stay happy, healthy, and safe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's go. Alright guys, so today is actually a very simple product, but it's going to be a very big upgrade to my RODI system down in the basement. As you know, I've got the AquaFX RODI Buddy, economy unit, whatever you want to call it, and then it goes into a brute trash can, which is 35 gallons or something like that. And as of now, I go downstairs, I have to turn on a little spigot valve that gives me cold water into the unit and then fills that tank. If I let it go all the way empty, usually it takes several hours to where I'll turn it on midday and I'm not going to go back and check and see where that tank is filled up at until the end of the day before I'm going to bed. So then normally I'll turn it back off. I have had a couple of times where I've let that thing overflow, but thankfully that floor is cement and has a drain right next to it. So not too big of a deal for me if I do overflow it, but for some of us that has had it in their laundry, in their house, wherever it may be, I'm sure you've experienced, like me, several overflows that do not end up nearly as convenient to clean up on a cement floor with a drain. So what are we going to take a look at to help combat that? Bam. This is the AutoAqua Smart RO. So it's an ATO unit, but it's meant for RO or RODI systems. I'm super excited to get this and put this on the system because it's going to make it just that much easier and hands-free and automated to get water up to the tank. Because there's nothing worse than having to carry 5-gallon bucket after 5-gallon bucket after 5-gallon bucket of water everywhere. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. Super easy and simple. We've gone over this before, but what you're going to look at here is a float valve and holder, your tubing down here, 2 optical sensors, which are important, and then in this brown box we have our solenoid, which that is super simple, little contraption right here. RO line goes through it, plugs in, and then with the sensors and our controller, it's going to tell our RO system when to turn off and when to turn on according to our reservoir. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my unit, I'm going to bring it up here, and I'm going to show you where we're going to install this. Whether you have one like mine, or if you have a unit that already has an auto shut off on it, this will tell you where it goes. So let's go ahead, grab my unit, I'll bring it up here, let's go ahead. Here is my RODI unit. I took off all the RO lines so I could get it up here, took out my little TDS ports on this one. So, like I said, what we're going to do here is we're going to take the solenoid valve, and basically we need this to be after our sediment and carbon, but before the membrane and DI, essentially. Because what we want it to do is, in my scenario, I want this unit to start and shut off the entire unit. If I put this at the very end after the DI, yeah, it's going to be filtered water going through the solenoid, which is important, but it's not going to shut off this entire unit, because after the membrane you have your product line that goes to the DI, but you also have the waste line that goes to your waste container. So this only has one port on it, so it has to be before the membrane to where it splits off. That way this will shut off the entire water going into your membrane, it won't split, and you'll be good to go. As soon as your float valve and your sensors trip, it'll shut the solenoid off and water will cease to come into the unit. So this is the line that comes out of my carbon block. I already have a TDS meter here, so we've already cut this once, but I'm going to have to basically cut this again, and then I will put the solenoid valve right here. And this will, again, make it so the entire unit will shut down. It'll tuck this little box back behind the unit so it's not out in the open or any issues with that. So let's cut this open and we'll get it on there. Tubing is cut. There is an arrow on the bottom which shows what our flow is going to be. So I need to set it up like this. So just like any other RO tubing, we'll just put it into the quick connect and push it in. It'll slide in and lock in there. I'll slide this down here. And bam, I'm good to go. This RODI unit now has an auto shut off feature. So now how this is going to set up, and they give you instructions, they show you exactly how to do it in your manual and on the back of the box, but we have one sensor that is going to be our low level and one sensor that will be our high level. So if it's set up like this, when it hits this optical sensor, it'll trigger the solenoid, turn it on, water will be allowed to flow freely through the unit, and then once it hits the secondary sensor, it will shut it down, it'll close the solenoid, and no more water. If for some reason our optical sensor does fail, we then have the float switch, which will be on the very top of my container. And if for some reason our optical sensor goes down, doesn't work, falls off, whatever case may be, once this rises up, it'll push pressure back onto the line, which again will trigger the sensor and have it shut down. And here's our little nice little controller with a mounting bracket. Super simple to set up. I'm excited to get this guy on. All right, guys, that's it. The AutoAqua Smart RO. I am super stoked to get this on. With a lot of my products, I'm excited for this, but I am very excited for this because not that it's a huge hassle, but it's just another thing that I can have automated and put on my system to have done for me instead of having to worry about remembering to turn it on for one, and that way, you know, because otherwise if I don't turn it on every now and then, eventually I'm going to run out of water when I'm trying to top off or do a water change, and I'm like, oh crap, now I gotta wait a whole day because I don't have any water to use. So this will make it so it turns on for me, and then I don't have to worry about remembering to turn it off, and I don't waste that water spilling down the drain. So I'm excited to get this guy on. I'll put a link in the description below as always. Go check it out. Thank you guys for stopping by. That's it for me. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go install this. Have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the holiday again for the new year. Hopefully you bring it in with a bang. Enjoy it. Go have fun. We appreciate you. Love you. Have a great, happy, safe weekend. Peace.